tell us what we know about the incident involving the ambulances.
Yeah, good afternoon, Simon. Yesterday, both parties confirmed, IDF confirmed that they struck an ambulance convoy. 15 people died and 60 people were injured as a result of that. Near Al-Shifa Hospital, we can see that's right up near the coast up there. It's important because it's one of the biggest medical facilities in the region. Now, the IDF claim that they killed loads of Hamas soldiers. They also claim that Hamas routinely travel in ambulances with their weapons. Of course, the Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Authority provided the other side of this. They were saying they were carrying injured to be treated in Egypt. They also said that the convoy was targeted both outside the hospital and about a mile and a half down the road as well. So it was clearly a targeted attack. And they also said they gave advance warning to the Red Crescent about the route being followed. It's worth pointing out that the Palestinian Red Crescent is a part of the International Red Cross. And of course, if they've suggested this was a contravention of the Geneva Convention.
OK, so and looking wider as well, how does this all tie in with the information war at the moment?
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because actually, in that particular instance, if you had injured Hamas fighters that were in that ambulance, they are not targets. They're not legit. They are protected by the law, even if they were carrying their weapons. But of course, both sides are using the media to try to play their particular agenda. And the truth is a casualty of war. And most often, it's he who gets the message out earliest who wins. By way of example, and we'll use the example going back to the Al Hospital incident, which I think was the 17th of October. There was a huge explosion in the car park. And of course, immediately, Hamas said this is an IDF strike, and that caused uproar. And there was widespread unrest around the Middle East. Well, of course, when you look at the evidence in the cold heart of day, it looks very unlikely that was actually caused by an Israeli rocket, and much more likely that it was caused by a rocket fired from somewhere else in Gaza. But of course, by that stage, the damage has been done. People believe what they want to believe, but it shows the really pivotal importance of the global media organisation in making sure we report what we see and also what the facts behind it are.
Yeah, and who are telling us those facts each time, right? So let's talk about the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. As you mentioned there, they're part of the bigger Red Cross that we all know, of course, and Red Crescent around the world. They've said that the deliberate targeting of medical teams is a war crime. As you mentioned there, that's what they were saying earlier. What is your assessment of, how do we decipher whether it is a war crime?
It's very difficult, but the term war crime is very emotive. And actually, because we've been covering the Ukraine conflict for 20 months, President Putin was indicted by the International Criminal Court for causing war crimes. But he wasn't convicted, or wasn't prosecuted, sorry, because of the fact that they were bombing buildings and killing civilians. The reason that he's been indicted is because some of his soldiers were actually killing in cold blood, murdering prisoners of war, evidence of their prisoners tied behind their hands behind their back and then summarily shot, and civilians, and then pushed into mass graves. Now, in war, the trouble is the blurring of the lines between civilian and military happens a lot. The law of armed conflict still endures whatever, but the law of armed conflict is actually guidance rather than specific. For example, it says, care be taken. It says we should avoid and minimise the number of civilian casualties. It doesn't say there aren't to be any. And of course, the West, we are used to wars of choice. We're used to counterinsurgencies, which are all about hearts and minds. We're incentivised to try and avoid civilian casualties and those sorts of things. Wars of national survival, very different. Very few people in this country are old enough to remember the last time we had one of those. Prime Minister Netanyahu has framed this as a war of national survival, and that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such huge casualties. Ultimately, it's the International Criminal Court to decide whether war crimes are being committed. In the meantime, this is just a harsh body blow to recognise the brutal realities of warfare.